Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 9th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you had a good Wednesday. Hopefully you had a good hump day. Hopefully you humped, did not get humped, unless that's what you're into. Today was solid. It's been a good day. My symptoms are mild. Hopefully I'm going to stop, putting all that in your ear, about how hurt I am, how sick I am. No, overall, I'm generally doing good. Let's see. We got up. We went to work. No problems there. Work has been pretty light, honestly, this week. I even got some downtime where I got to sit in maintenance real quick, so that's nice. Good old slow day. We did have food. We got a little treat day on a Wednesday. They catered. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a food corner. So the theme was brunch. It was a brunch catered situation. Let me just run down and then I'll just give you my overall thoughts and feelings about it. That sounds good. We had two kinds of bread. We had like little bread slices. One was what was it? Blueberry. There might have been like a chocolate chip and just like normal, but I'm pretty sure that was all blueberry. But then they also had like chocolate like bread. So I was like, okay, I got a slice of both of those. There was a little fruit medley you could make a little fruit bowl out of. Also there was muffins. You could either get a chocolate muffin or a blueberry muffin. I later saw that they had like other muffins, and I just missed out. I came in like maybe at the tail end of a rush or something. And I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I got my blueberry one. It's the one I would have picked anyway, so whatever. But then there was also two kinds of eggs. There were scrambled eggs, and then there was egg casserole. Another indicator that I kind of came too late. I was literally scraping the edges, trying to like get little pieces of the casserole because I just wanted to get it for the vibe, egg on egg. Though I've said before on the pod, I like eggs. Eggs do not like me. Generally does not agree with my stomach, so I kind of tend to stay away. But if it's offered, I'll take the egg. I like eggs. It's fine. Generally, like any kind of way. Scrambled's my favorite. Call me a baby, whatever. But I mean, generally any kind of egg, especially egg in a sandwich situation, let's fucking go. Okay, put it on the plate. But no, then let's see here. Then there were these sausage patties. I think I got a couple of those. Also, this is all like self-serve style, so like it was all just there. So you got your one ticket. I didn't scam, and you go through the line, you pick up what you want, right? So yeah, I got the sausage patties. I got a couple of those. Let's see here. Then there was the bacon. This was turkey bacon. Say what you will about that, but that's what it was. I scored a good amount of that. That was kind of the most I got was like some of the turkey bacon. And then, what else was there? Then there were sauces. So we had like salsa, ketchup. Then there was also some, like cheese topping if you wanted to put that on. What else was there? Hot sauce, salt and pepper. And then they had a little juice bar or coffee bar. So yeah, that was the whole spread. That was pretty much everything, and I got a little bit of everything. I had a coffee to drink, but overall rating, mid. It was so bad, y'all. It was not good. Now don't get me wrong. I'm talking shit off the rip, but I've already said free is me. It's whatever. And best believe, I ate all of it. I Kirby'd that shit. I ate it. I swallowed it all. I ate it. But it just wasn't that good. It was not hitting. Like, and you know how it is with like all the food I mentioned, with the exception of the fruit. It just sits so terribly in a catered little tray thing. It's just not good. No matter how you class it up or what have you. Overall though, I never say this, but always shout out to the people who are catering, especially when it's not our own people. Like, because sometimes they have like our own little committee of people who will cater the event, or not cater the event, I should say, run the buffet line, right? But like in this situation, it was a catered situation. So we had a catering team, group, whatever. Obviously, shout out to them. They were solid. They always are solid. I don't say that, but I should. But the food was bad. It was just not good. The bacon was like fine for turkey bacon. The sausage patties were like bland, like close to gross. I mean, luckily we had the salt and pepper and all the hot sauce I could get. They had like three kinds of hot sauce at least, maybe like four. So good for that, but it was just not that great. We're talking like at the line of edible, right? That's about what we're talking about here. And also maybe this is strange, maybe this is me tooting my own horn, but ever since I got on the diet, I've noticed my palate kind of changing a little bit, right? Not so much so that like I'm averse to foods or anything like that, but I'm definitely more keen than I was before on taste. I think like, or maybe I'm not like repulsed by bad food, but I just go, oh, this is definitely not good. I definitely don't want to eat this again. This is definitely not like a good use of calories and macros and all this bullshit. I don't really want this. But in this situation, once again, I will just not say no to a free meal. You just know me. That's my kind of like my credo. You know, kind of like how a paladin has to save anyone and everyone. They just have to do that. If someone's like says, hey man, I got free food. Do you want some? It is so hard for me to say no. I feel like I take on evil if I say no. You know what I mean? It's bad karma for me if I say no. So, you know, that's just my Nindo way. But overall, we ate the food. Sat heavy, but overall we got through the day. We went to the gym. Gym was fine. It was a little bit busier than I like for a Wednesday, that's for sure. But I did wind up getting on my machines just in a little different order. Overall, no hassles, no problems. Also, despite the fact that I've been like a little porky pig this week, just eating, I'm glad that my weight hasn't fluctuated too much. I think I'm kind of balancing out by like not having as much of a fatty weekend as I normally do on the weekend. And now it's like, okay, well, you're having a fat week, so it's okay, I guess. I don't know. Maybe my body's giving me the pass here, or it's just all kind of balancing out. I don't know. But yeah, overall the day was good. It's fine. We actually have a lot of news, and I'm talking way too much about my precious little life. So let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. You know, sometimes when it rains, it pours, and that's a bad pun, but I gotta do it. All the puns are intended on this podcast, and you know, sometimes I try to add levity in dark times. What can I say? Ooh. Oh, very nice, very nice. Okay, we got some flood news. Um, First story coming out from the Associated Press. Monsoon floods sweep away 20 people and the main bridge linking Nepal to China. A mountain river flooded by monsoon rains swept away the main bridge connecting Nepal with China on Tuesday, leaving 20 people missing, Nepali authorities said. Rescue efforts were underway, and an army helicopter was able to lift people stranded by the flooding. Police said dozens of rescuers were already at the area, and more are expected to join the rescue efforts. Security forces have rescued 55 people, including 4 Indians and a Chinese person so far, according to the Rasua District Administration Office. Nepal's Prime Minister Khadga Prasad Ali, along with top ministers and officials, flew to the area. The flooding on the I'm totally fucking this up. Batokoshi River destroyed the Friendship Bridge at Rasuwagdi, which is 120 kilometers or 75 miles north of the capital, Kathmandu. Several houses and trucks that were parked at the border for customs inspections also were swept away. Hundreds of electric vehicles, imported from China, have been parked at the border point. 20 are missing The 20 missing are 14 Nepali citizens and 6 Chinese nationals, said the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority. The Chinese and 8 of the Nepalese were workers at a Chinese-assisted construction project on the Nepali side of the border, according to the Chinese embassy in Nepal, quoted by state media. The destruction of the bridge has halted all trade from China to Nepal through this route. The longer alternative is for goods to be shipped from China to India and then brought overland to Nepal. Monsoon rains that begin in June and end in September often cause severe flooding in Nepal, disrupting infrastructure and endangering lives. Our next story is also flood related, but we're going to New Mexico. From NBC News, 3 dead after historic flash flooding hits New Mexico town ravaged by wildfires. At least 3 people were killed by historic flash floods in New Mexico mountain community in a New Mexico mountain community that suffered devastating wildfires last year, officials said late Tuesday. The remote village of Ruidicio, about 180 miles south of Albuquerque, said a 4-year-old girl, a 7-year-old boy, and a man aged 40 to 50 were all swept downstream by the unprecedented floodwaters. The boy and girl were identified as the children of a soldier on leave from Fort Bliss, the military post in El Paso, Texas, officials said Wednesday. The family were caught in the flood while they were camping near Ruidicio, the base said in a statement. The soldier and the soldier's spouse sustained serious injuries and were hospitalized in Texas, according to the statement. 4 people remain missing, officials said Wednesday. They added that 3 people were hospitalized and are stable, and that 20 people remain displaced. Let's see here. Also, they have almost like a GIF style situation, but just like this video footage of like just a whole house just being carried away in New Mexico by these floodwaters. Just very intense situation. Crazy. We just had the situation last week with Texas. People are still reeling from that. Still a lot of people missing. Just a really big aftermath there. And then you have, the situation in Nepal, you have the situation in New Mexico. Obviously, my heart goes out to, everyone involved in the situation. Condolences. Obviously, people who've lost their lives, lost family members, just so much damage. Your whole life is just literally gutted by something like this. And you have to just pick up the pieces as best as you can. And not to mention, too, I know kind of zigzagging around a little bit, but talking about Texas a lot right now is, well, what could we have done better? What could have been changed? And I know a lot of talk is about, well, how could we have been notified better? Because the system that we have isn't working. It's not working. It didn't work here. We lost people, a lot of people. And we've kind of known this as a city, and we got to really do better now. So, a lot of questions are being asked at that level right now. But also, once again, people are still just trying to pick up the pieces, trying to really recover from a devastating situation. But yeah, hopefully we see less of this. Stormy weather is one thing, but once again, I don't want to keep covering people, getting their shit devastated. That shit sucks every year, Fucking sad as hell. But we have some more news to cover. Next is going to be some SCOTUS shit, some Trump shit. From CBS News, Supreme Court clears way for Trump to move forward with mass layoffs of federal workers. The Supreme Court on Tuesday lifted a lower court order that blocked sweeping layoffs of federal workers at nearly 24 agencies, while a legal battle over President Trump's plans to drastically cut the size of the government moves forward. The High Court's order clears the way for the Trump administration to resume its effort to reorganize and scale back the federal government, which has been led by the White House's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. The old Doge style. The Justice Department turned to the Supreme Court for emergency relief after a federal judge in May ordered a halt to the job cuts and enforcement of other orders by DOGE to slash programs or staff. This was an unsigned opinion. I just kind of want to read the overall. It's worth noting that Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sotomayor Both dissented in individual briefs or statements. I didn't hear anything about Kagan, but I don't really care. Let's see. Let's just read this overall statement though. Because the government is likely to succeed on its argument that the executive order and memorandum are lawful, and because the other factors bearing on whether to grant a stay are satisfied, we grant the application, the court said. We express no view on the legality of any agency reduction in force, and reorganization plan produced or approved pursuant to the executive order and memorandum. The district court enjoined further implementation or approval of the plans based on its view about the legality of the executive order and memorandum, not on any assessment of the plans themselves. Those plans are not before this court. So, as tactfully as they could, they meandered around the thing and allowed Trump to do what he wants here, which is to do the layoffs. And they're like, well, we'll let that shit unfold, though, in the lower courts. We don't really have anything to say about that, but he should be allowed to go forward with what he's doing. He shouldn't be imposed by this lower court's ruling. Essentially what I'm getting out of this. I really don't want to, go through the details of this shit. I think we covered it before. Who knows? In the milieu of the Trump-verse, there's always a lot. He just popped off with a lot of this shit. And I kind of just wanted to wait for things to kind of get to the Supreme Court to kind of really cover them, or at least, actually have some thoughts on the matter. Obviously, I think this shit fucking sucks. It sucks that people who, go out of their way to get these fucking government jobs, however you feel about them, however shitty they might be, whatever, but they're supposed to have that kind of, the word I'm looking for is not tenure, but the security of knowing that it doesn't matter what president it is, you're going to keep your job. You're an essential worker in that regard. You can at least lean on that. And the fact that that's just being completely upended, that sucks. That's no good. So I understood why, so many people try to bring these cases up and try to fight for these people's jobs. And, it's a shame that they're fucking going to be losing them. You know what I mean? Especially, just overnight type shit. You have a job, this guy's in power now, he's post inauguration, whatever, and this shit just boom, you don't have a job anymore. Too bad. Resign now, hit the resign button now in this email, or get fucked type shit. I don't care who you are, what job you are, that fucking sucks, dude. Goddamn. But yeah, we have more news to cover. I don't really want to linger on this, and y'all know I hate talking Supreme Court shit. I really fucking do. We're going to Vibe. Vibe magazine, but in this case it's Vibe, the news outlet, internet site, whatever. I don't know what you call it here, but I'm getting news from Vibe. Anyway, this isn't a Vibe, by the way, but it is an update. Mellow Buck's father hit with federal gun charges in wake of deadly shooting. Excuse me. In a devastating turn of events for rising Chicago rapper Mellow Bucks, her father, Melvin Doyle, was arrested on federal gun charges just days after a deadly mass shooting at her album release party that claimed four lives and left over a dozen others injured. According to No Jumper, Doyle was arraigned on federal firearm charges after authorities alleged he illegally sold 13 guns to confidential informants working at the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or the ATF, since May. Doyle, who has a lengthy criminal history, was previously convicted of attempted murder in 1998. He was also convicted in 2003 for the manufacture and delivery of controlled substances, and again in 2006 for the manufacture and delivery of heroin. Okay, that's all whatever, these are criminal acts and they're choosing to go for them or whatever, but that's kind of neither here nor there. A quick recap that 4 people did die, including Mellow Bucks' boyfriend, and not to mention several people, or a bunch of people, were injured. So really fucked up, sad situation, but none of her dad's arrest has anything to do with that event, with the mass shooting event. So it's okay, but could you guys do your job and get to the bottom of that? That's the investigation at hand, right? But it's almost just hey, we're stopping this gun violence shit with her dad right there. We got somebody not really involved in this situation per se, but hey, guns off the streets. So it's just like, I mean, all right, okay, like this is news. For me, I felt compelled to cover this and talk about it. But once again, this is unrelated to the mass shooting at hand. And okay, so yeah, you're to lock him up, and that's the thing. But once again, do you have any leads, any updates there? And it seems like goose egg, nothing, mothballs on that. So that's a bit unfortunate. So there's more recap and stuff like that in this article. But we're going to move on. We got to log on to X, the everything app, formerly known as Twitter. Y'all know I call that shit Twitter still. I would rather call it Twitter. I don't like calling it X, the everything app. Mainly because I don't fucking... Y'all know why. There's so many reasons not to call that shit what it is. Whatever. Anyway, we got to talk about the Yaccarino from Politico. Linda Yaccarino resigns as CEO of X. I'm on X. We know Elon Musk might be on some X. Linda Yaccarino announced she is stepping down from her role as CEO of X in a post on the website on Wednesday. After 2 incredible years, I've decided to step down as CEO of X, she wrote. I'm incredibly proud of the X team. The historic business turnaround we have accomplished together has been nothing short of remarkable. I mean, I guess I really would love to see the numbers that would prove that you actually like got this thing out of the fucking pit, and you're actually making money off of Twitter, X, whatever. But yeah, you guys are private, so whatever. I don't know. The former NBC Universal executive joined X in 2003, shortly after Elon Musk took ownership of the social media platform. Musk and Yaccarino had spearheaded an initiative to totally remake the company, which was then known as Twitter, with the tech titan warning the platform was too woke. Yeah, it was too woke then. And now what is it? Well, let's talk about what it is kind of right now, because something did pop off this week that I'm kind of a little dovetailing a little bit here to talk about. Yaccarino praised the company and its owner in her post and touted the features the company unveiled under her watch, including XAI. XAI is the engine behind its chatbot Grok, which posted anti-Semitic content on X on Tuesday. Obviously, anti-Semitism is not funny, but I immediately thought about Grok and the thing that it had said, which I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but essentially equated itself to Mecha Hitler. So yeah, it's not good. Like, bro, like you asked for this, bro. Like, this is what Elon asked for, bro. This is what he wanted. And once again, this is what Yaccarino got on board for. She had a whole ass fucking job. She was girl maxing, girl bossing in like the legacy media sphere. She was doing her thing. I don't know why she wanted this position so bad. Like, I don't like, how big was the bag that she got? And it doesn't seem like there's any bad blood or anything like that. I don't know what prompted the leave now. Maybe she just felt like, okay, I've padded my stats here. I padded my resume enough here now. I can move on to do other things, whatever. But it's just so crazy that you would even be here in the first place. Like, I don't know. It just seemed wild to me that she signed on to this project. Not that I know her well or anything. Not like I tracked her career or anything. But it just seems so strange for someone to be like, yeah, I'm coming from this to that. I'm going to be the CEO. And maybe it's that. You get to be a CEO, a certified CEO, even though essentially Elon's still running the show and you're just, saving face. But I mean, what is a CEO if not the mascot cheerleader of whatever company? So, she knew her role, she played it, and maybe she's just done. She's ready to, drive on off to the sunset. She's ready to log out, if you will. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to pass up an excuse to talk about X, the everything app. But yeah, I mean, I guess happy trails, Yaccarino. We'll see you around. We'll see what happens next. Who knows what she'll do? Who knows what this girl boss will do next? Anyway, let's move on. We gotta talk about some sick shit. From, once again, CBS News. Measles cases in the U.S. hit the highest total recorded in more than 30 years. We're peaking right now. The United States has recorded 1,288 measles cases so far this year, the highest total in 33 years, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, data out Wednesday. Just over halfway through 2025, the U.S. has now surpassed 2019's total number of infections when 1,274 measles cases were confirmed, which at the time was the highest in more than a quarter century. This is now the worst year for measles in the U.S. since 1992, when 2,126 cases were confirmed. The virus was officially declared eliminated in 2000 after rates of vaccination succeeded at halting nearly all the domestic spread. It's crazy that we went from, yo, clap it up, y'all, we did it. We beat the measles. Wow, that's so cool. We really made it happen. And then 25 years later, we are chasing old numbers from 1992. It's insane. I mean, we've talked about this briefly. Big epicenter of this shit is coming out of Texas. A lot of these cases are unvaccinated kids. I mean, just do the math on that shit, man. I've had my rant about this shit before. It's starting to sound like the gun violence shit, you know, where I'm just a broken record and I don't like fucking talking about it. Please, like, I implore you, like, just do the smart thing. I'm not talking about do the right thing. Like, it's crazy that we are, quote unquote, supposed to be returning to common sense. But then you just have all of these people who are like, yeah, vaccines are stupid. They're just dumb. They're wrong. They're bad. They're going to give you some insert thing I saw on the internet here. And it's like, that's so counterintuitive to everything we know as a society. These things are good for us. You should take the fucking vaccine. You should make sure your kids have the fucking vaccine. Look, I'm not your dad. I'm not your grandpa. Like, please, just, you know, I don't want to see this shit spread. Like, I don't want to see this shit get worse, you know? Like, it's just wild that we're having this fucking conversation. You know, I think years prior, what were like some of the trending things that we covered a lot? Monkeypox. That's understandable. It's a really fucked up situation, the way it spreads and moves around and stuff like that. You know, that makes sense. Bird flu. Okay, that makes sense. Like this is like a, you know, thing that can easily spiral out if it actually evolves and maybe the wrong word here, but metastasizes into something really bad. Like this could be the new thing, the new pandemic. Like that makes sense to talk about. It does not make sense in 2025 to be talking about measles like this. We should not be here. Like American excellence is this. Like, it's insane to me. It's wildly insane to me that we are here and we have to talk about it. I didn't want to. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And I live in Ohio, y'all, so I know people like this. Like, it bothers me. It upsets me. Like, I don't want to say to my core. That's maybe a bit dramatic, but like, but then you think like in certain of these situations, these people can be your ride or dies, and like, you think that they're so intelligent, like morally strong, like whatever, rich in character, but then they go on some rants like this, and your stomach turns. You know, a little bit of light dies in your eyes because it's like, God damn, dude, you really just are getting lost in the fucking sauce here, dude. Like, you went on the internet to get some kind of confirmation bias because you didn't want to get a shot or whatever. You were scared or a little spooked out. And now you're going to harm potentially yourself, your family. It's insane to me. We should not be talking about this in 2025 as Americans. We should have had the shit licked. But yeah, here we are. Anyway, all right, we have one more thing I wanted to cover. I needed to talk about the news and get that off my chest. I guess I really, you know, I don't know. I gotta come up with a way to wrap that up faster. Anyway, let's see here. Actually, we're not doing too bad. We're moving okay. All right. Let's take our last break. But yeah, we gotta talk about some bad crackers. Oh boy, that's the actual crackers. I'm not getting, you know, racial. I gotta say this since it's going on the internet. I found out a couple years ago you can't say cracker, you know, or at least you gotta state your intentions when you're talking about crackers. People get upset, they get offended. You know, we gotta talk about real victims sometimes. Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. From the Hill. Ritz cracker sandwiches urgently recalled over potentially life-threatening error. Error. The manufacturer of Ritz cracker sandwiches has issued an urgent recall due to a labeling error that could cause a serious or life-threatening allergic reaction. Mondelez Global LLC is voluntarily recalling certain cartons of Ritz cracker sandwiches as seen in a notice posted to the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, website. The cartons contain individually wrapped packs of Ritz sandwiches, but the packs themselves may identify the Ritz sandwiches as having cheese filling. Yummy. When they contain peanut butter filling. Also yummy, but not yummy if you have a peanut allergy. It could kill you. Or you can get really sick, whatever. It just isn't good. So, they do have like all the labels and stuff. I don't really feel like reading them, y'all. Like, there's several. There's like three of them, maybe four of them. There's like several. Obviously, if you are a Ritz cracker sandwich enjoyer, you'd be buying the big packs of these things or any of these packs. Check it out. Um, Look into this. Make sure that you're not eating, potential peanut butter when you got the cheese. And really, these things don't matter if you don't have an allergy, of course, right? You can kind of just like, oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't want the cheese. I wanted the peanut butter. Look, I'm an enjoyer of both. I like both. And I'll tell you what, this is a bit of an aside here. If I wanted to get really freaky in 2025, I mean, shit, you could get the measles. Why not? Go nuts. Why not do a peanut butter cheese? Is that crazy? Dear listeners, listen to me. Hear me out. Hear me out. Half and half. Is that crazy? Little yin and yang. I wouldn't mind that. Now, maybe that doesn't sell, but Ritz, if you're listening, hashtag I'm not sponsored, but sponsor me. 1, 2, send me some of those. Make me some of those. I'll eat it. I would love to try it. I'll take those calories. I'll take those macros, whatever. But no, back to the crisis at hand. Obviously, if you got any of the ones that are mentioned, if you go on the Hill and you look this up or whatever, go ahead, inspect them, or if you don't feel like it, you can just toss them out. You can go to the store, get a little receipt, say, hey, I got these and I don't know. It looks like these are fucked up. Can I get an exchange? Can I get a refund? They should be able to sort you out, right? That's the hope. That's the goal. I always pitch that. Even the article doesn't pitch that. Not an expert, whatever, but that's usually what they say to do. And I think that's how you should go about it. Or you just cut your losses. Look, as a guy who had to chuck out half of his refrigerator because his refrigerator went out, I get it. It sucks. But we move. If you got a peanut allergy or one of your family's got a peanut allergy, you don't want to take any chances, right? I completely get that. So yeah, I mean, that's really all I have, though. That's it. That's how the cracker crumbles, so to speak, for the day. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/AZanNews. I have a burp. Ooh, that's scary. I'm sorry. That sounded like a scary movie burp. Like a croak. Excuse me if that was in your ear. Mea culpa. But become a newsie today, try that out. Free ways to hit me up at zanews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Hit that subscription button, subscribe button, whatever. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. You can do that on TikTok, though, as well. You can do it on Spotify. Is it corny to share your songs on Spotify, like from Spotify? Because sometimes I be jamming and I want Facebook, I want Instagram stories to know that I really be jamming, though. So sometimes I be sharing my stories. I don't care if it's corny. I'm 34 years old. I should be allowed to do that. I am an elder millennial. I'm crying. So maybe you don't do that, and that's okay. But the thought's appreciated, even if you just think about it. Follow me on Spotify, like I mentioned, or Apple Podcasts, whatever platform. You hit that follow button. You hit whatever button they tell you to hit to keep up with me, and I'll be keeping up with you. How's that sound? Not in a creepy way. Not in a parasocial way. No. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.